There we go. I love that voice right there. Recording in progress. Should I do the whole
Recording in
class in that
progress.
voice?
Welcome to the Lost Stars.
AI.
Aw, thank you guys for coming. So we are in class 3, Magic of the Solitary Witch, and today we're going to do altars and tools and just an idea of what that looks like a general just going over. So to start, I just want to start off with this is just a general about altars and tools, and you do not need all the things to stand in your magic, to do your things. These are just stuff that people like to work with, that they like to have in their, space, in their spells when they're doing their work. Remember that imperfect action is better than perfect procrastination. Get in there and start it. You don't have to have all the things. Remember to believe in yourself, believe in your magic, because that's where it's all coming from, is from you. And that's where it starts from, is on the inside. And then we're working outwards. And when you're doing this work, acknowledge what you are seeing. Believe what you are seeing, believe in yourself, and know that you have all of this inside of you. And most importantly, do what feels right to you. If you can dream it, you can do it. If you feel it, you can put it into action, right? That's what this is all about. This is creating our reality for ourselves, for our family, or whatever that looks like. And we are changing our situations through the power that we have in ourselves and bringing that into reality. So that is the most important stuff right there. Believe in yourself. That is where it all starts. Okay, so first I'm going to go into, since it is November, happy November. We're in a whole new month. So I'm going to go into our astrological forecast first. I really want a green screen behind me. Okay, me and Jordy talked about this the other day. And I was like, I need a green screen so I can give a forecast, be like, as Mercury moves into, and just so I really want a green screen and all the planets behind me, first of all.
Look, that would be awesome.
Right. So that's why I am laughing when I say astrological forecast, is because I just want chaos raining down from eclipse season and all the things. So
Fucking
sorry.
coming through.
Yeah, so we're going to go ahead and get started with November. Happy November. I'm so excited. When I was looking at all the movements and all the planets and all the things going on in November and what that looks like, um, it just looks so different than October. And October is great, right? We went through all the things. The veil is thinning. We're connecting ancestors, bringing it all in. And as you guys know, I am definitely more of a cup is half full than empty kind of person. And I really like to bring that to astrology and what the month looks like and how we can use it to benefit ourselves and move ourselves and our situation and our healing and our manifestation forward, right? So I like to, let's not blame the moon. Let's not blame the planets. Let's not blame the retrogrades unless it's Mercury. Just kidding.
I'm
That one
blaming the
messes with,
eclipse.
yeah, and the eclipse, yes.
I'm going to blame them. So.
Yes. So, they all bring their own energies with them. Eclipse season can be hard, it can be difficult, but all these things are showing us it's like a lesson, right? Like squares and oppositions in a chart. Some people look at them as, oh, it's hard, it's this, it's that. And really, I think what those show for us is opportunities for growth. Where can we grow? Where can we move through? Right? I don't know. One day I was sitting here and I was, doing charts, and I was thinking, and I wrote it down, I jotted it down. Is it the jealousy in my heart, or is it the square in my chart? Right. And with that, it gets me thinking about oppositions and squares and how we blame the energies that are going on. But if we really think about it, if that's the jealousy in my heart, how can I use that to better myself, my situation, and take the jealousy outside of myself and move it into something that is positive? And most people think, oh, jealousy can't be positive, but it can if you turn it around and use it for good. And that's what we need to do with astrology. And that's really what I like to try to bring to the monthly outlook, forecast, whatever you want to call it. But as I'm looking at all this going on in November, it all yells fresh start and movement. And just, let's move into a forward direction of what last month, Libra season, kind of, we were moving through that and we're finding balance. And now we're in Scorpio, and October was, a lot of releasing, a lot of chaos, a lot of ups and downs and movement. And we still are in Scorpio, and then we'll move into Sagittarius. But November has this fresh start about it. Today, Saturn went direct. So that's one less retrograde we're in, which is fantastic. And Saturn going direct, Saturn rules Capricorn. So it's a lot of lessons, responsibility, down to earth feelings. And we have a lot of water and earth right now. If you look at right now, it is basically all water and earth where all the planets are. And so with that, we have earth that is grounding us and we're making plans. And then we have all this water, emotion, and deep diving, right? Scorpio likes to dive deep and dig all the things up. And then let's see, we have Mercury is going to be entering Sagittarius. The sun will be entering Sagittarius. Mars will be entering Sagittarius. So we're going to get some fire, some movement to all of this earth and water that we have. We're getting movement. We're moving forward. So it's just a really beautiful November of letting up and movement. So right now, the moon is in the waning phase. It's disappearing, right? And so what we're doing right now is such a great time to let everything go. Let October go. Let stagnant go. Let hostility go. All the things that are holding you back and all these emotions that you just feel are pulling you down, let them all go. This is a great time, whether you do it the whole time during waning as we move into the dark/new moon, or if, you do it one night or two nights, or maybe right now you work on writing it all down of all the things you want to let go. This is the perfect time right now, okay, to let all of that go. And the dark moon will start on the 13th. So we have a really good time right now because we're just on the 4th. So we have like 9 days to really focus on what we want to let go. But Saturn has gone direct, and Saturn is about lessons and responsibilities, and that is in Pisces, and that in itself can be changing because Capricorn is very grounded, very earth. Let's move, let's get a plan, whereas Pisces is very dreams and illusions and imagination, right? So with these two combined, instead of them working against each other, let's have them work together. What are your dreams? What are your goals? What do you want to take and put into reality? And what are the steps that you need to take to get there? That is what Saturn in Pisces wants you to accomplish. So we're not going to just daydream about it. Now we're going to take steps. Everything we released over, the last month and all of that and letting it go. What are we going to fill it with now? And what steps do you have to take to get there to fill it with? The Saturn is let's get a plan, and the Pisces is what are our dreams? So take those dreams and those steps and move them into a plan. That is what Saturn is pushing you towards. Saturn sits in a sign for 2.5 years. Okay, so remember, okay, make our goals, our plans, our steps. It's not going to happen in a day, a week, a month. This is long working. This is what we're going to do. So we might take a step forward to take a step back, but just remember we're still taking steps forward. It takes 28 to 30 years for Saturn to go back to the same exact spot that it was when you were born. We call this a Saturn return. They are not fun for most people. So think about when you were 30, 28 and 30. I know what my lessons were that I had to learn from and move forward. So 30, 60, if you're lucky to get there, 90. These are, look back at those times in your life of what were those lessons? Did I pull from those lessons? Where am I now? Am I still dealing with those lessons? This is a great time to let those go during this moon to move forward in our goals. Okay. I don't know. That was just like a little blippy, but they call that a Saturn return. And for some, it can be easy, and some they can be hard and rocky. Mine was hard and rocky, guys, but with a beautiful outcome. So that's the good news, right? It can always be beautiful if we're willing to work on ourselves and do the work. Okay. We can manifest, we can intention, we can write petitions, we can do all the things, but if we're not putting the work in and taking the steps, one, it's going to be a lot slower, a lot harder, and then we're going to feel like my magic isn't working. But your magic is working, but the self-work has to support the intentions we're putting in. Then on the 8th, Venus is going to enter Libra. This is beautiful. Okay. Venus loves Libra. Yes, do your dance over there. Venus is Libra's ruler, right? It's also rules Taurus as well too. But Venus loves being in Libra. So during this time, it's a great time for self-growth, self-love, moving forward with that, moving forward with gratitude. You might feel a little bit schmexier about yourself, looking in the mirror, dang, look at me. A little more self-care, maybe a little bit putting yourself more forward, right? Because Venus is all about that. And I really like to, it does rule relationships as well too, but first we must start with the relationship within ourselves. And you're going to hear me say this over and over and over again, because if you don't start with yourself first, no matter what you do outside of yourself, it's always going to fall a little bit short. Okay. So also during this time, you might feel, as Venus moves into Libra, that communication with loved ones, whether that's your partner, your mother, your child, your brother, your aunts, your uncles, whatever that looks like, communication with loved ones might be a little bit easier. You yourself might be more receptive when a loved one comes to you and shares feelings. You might be a little bit more balanced, right? Because Libra is all about balance. So you're going to want to hear both sides. It's a great time of making decisions from your heart. Don't forget to think about them first, but decisions from your heart, love, abundance, gratitude, and manifestation is a great time starting on the 8th. Did you have a question, Jordy?
When does Venus go into Libra?
On the 8th.
Oh, okay.
So in 4 days, we will be there.
That is all.
And then we're going to move to the 10th, where Mercury enters Sagittarius. And this is the first real planet move into fire. We have our North Node, and Chiron is in Aries right now. So there is a little bit of fire, but those are really, these planets. Mercury is a personal planet, and that's where we really feel the effect of it. Our personal planets, really, we get more effect from that and feel it deeper. So this is like the first bit of fire that we're going to feel. Excuse me. So Mercury is thoughts, communication, movement, right? So we're going to feel that in our thoughts, in our movement forward. It's going to bring a lot more of an optimistic outlook. You're probably going to be craving new topics, learning more, or something that you're into, really deep diving into it, that push of go. Your self-expression, communication will probably flow a little bit easier. The words will come to you easier. That movement forward, you're really going to start feeling that. And, thoughts into movement is really what we want to do. So if you're thinking about it, put those steps into action. If you want to learn a new language, Tanya, move that forward, right? If we want to learn a new topic, enroll in those classes, feed your mind right now. That's a great time. Expression will come easier. And then I put here, with this Mercury entering into it, right? Be careful not to come off as a know-it-all. We need to be careful how we are using our words, how we're sharing with people the things that we are learning, so we don't come off like we're looking down our noses at them and a know-it-all. So with this fire energy, be careful how it's coming out and still think before you speak, because it might just want to rush right out. And same thing, don't say anything in haste or anger towards someone when Mercury is moving into Sagittarius. That fire will feed that, right? And then we have on the 12th, the moon is going to move into the dark moon in Scorpio. And then it will move into the new moon, the sliver in the sky, starting. We all wish we had a decent handle on thinking before we speak. And this is a perfect time to start exercising that, Jody. So don't worry, you are not alone. And then the new moon, the sliver in the sky, will start on the 14th, and that will be more into the Sagittarius sign of it. But the dark moon will be in Scorpio. It starts on the 12th, about 9 p.m. Pacific time. So that would be like midnight, the morning of the 13th Eastern time. And this new moon is going to be in Scorpio. So transformation, growth, rebirth, renewal, fresh. A new start from that eclipse energy. And what are our new desires? What did we let go of? What are our new desires? What are your personal goals? What do you want to commit to? And what are the steps that we need to take? And it's also a time to take rest before we hit this manifestation. So this is really a time of thinking about it, spending time on yourself. That's what we're doing. We're deep diving into what we want to manifest, what we want to draw in from all of this. Probably going to feel a lot more, goal oriented, move with courage, move with love. Know that you have this, okay? And Scorpios are not afraid to dig deep and speak the truth. That is what Scorpios do. That is Scorpio energy right there. They don't want to hurt you, but they will speak the truth because it's what you need to hear. So during this time, you need to be telling yourself the truth. You need to be working from a place of reality and where you want to go, and not hiding in illusions.
That's me.
That's you. And
Mhm.
it's a really good time. I wrote down right here, shed the skin of the old ways that we were working on in the eclipse season to build up new. We want to shed that skin, and we want to move forward in a new found way, a phoenix rising from the ashes. So it's time to shed that skin and move forward, right? The trees are losing their leaves. We're going to lose our skin and we're going to move forward.
That's me again.
That's right. And then on the
I was gonna say the scorpion shedding its shell.
yes.
Do they shed? I don't think they do.
Do
But
they
we'll
shed
go
their
ahead
shell?
and use that.
No,
I'm
they
sorry. I
don't.
was thinking In my head, I was thinking snake. So that's why I was like, yeah, I don't know if scorpions do. I know other
They do
beetles
when they're
do.
they do when they're like hitting their during the shift. At least one kind that's in Arizona does just
Mm.
as they are growing from like baby scorpions to bigger scorpions.
Oh,
But
maturity.
you know,
Yeah.
yeah, like whatever that metamorphosis.
That's what I meant. No, that's not what I meant, but we'll go with that.
Like
I was
shedding
thinking
your
At
snake.
least the
skin-
ones in Arizona do.
like shedding your skin and rising in your true authenticity.
Yes. We're shedding our skin. We're leaving all that behind of what we don't hold true anymore, of our old self, and we're moving into what we want now, into our truth, into our reality that we want to live in.
Yeah.
Right? Because reality, dimensions, all of that stuff, like what is that? Does time, time is kind of an illusion, right? It's man-made, but it's not divine made, right? We're here to be who we are, and no one says how fast or slow that we are supposed to do this. So do this at the pace that you are meant to. And it's going to have ups and it's going to have downs, but in the end, our goal is to be the best version of ourselves. And that's what we're working towards. And then on the 18th, Mars is going to conjunct the sun. And what that means is they're going to be playing together and they're going to be having fun together. So, right, Mars is a fire planet and Sun is Leo. That's two fires coming together, playing together in the sky. And it's going to bring a burst of action. So you're probably going to feel on this day, oh my gosh, I can do this. It's going to bring good luck. It's going to bring determination and movement forward. Just that next, like, breath of luck coming at you, right? Like this relief about that, like I can do anything and it's gonna come easy. Setting goals in reality, remember to do that. Okay, we need to be realistic about our goals. We need to dream, but let's set the steps in reality so we don't fizzle out. Excuse me. Don't forget to think before you speak. We have two fires happening right there, and we don't want to burn anyone down or burn any bridges, if you will. And spell work for this time on the 18th is really, really great for luck, for setting spells for luck, for abundance, or for court cases that you need to be ruled in your favor. That is a perfect time on the 18th to do that work. And then we will move into the 22nd. The sun will be moving into Sagittarius, and it will be sitting in a fire sign. So here we are, just another burst of fire, right? A burst of energy and going and moving forward. And Sagittarius, so Scorpio likes to deep dive, right, into all the things. And so we're going to take some of that over into Sagittarius and add a little bit of that to the fire element of it. So setting goals, going on adventures, moving, philosophical conversations. You're probably going to be finding a lot of that. Knowledge into higher truth, finding that higher truth about yourself, about life, feeling those things, right? So we're taking that Scorpio energy, because Scorpio likes all of that stuff, and then we're adding a little bit of fire and determination and movement and seeking all of that out. Feeling confident, feeling bold, feeling adventurous. Be careful during this time to not fall into being single-minded, that your truths or your beliefs are the only ones, and to have an open mind to listen to other people as well, because through that we find growth. So it's easy to fall into when you are searching for all of that. Yeah, overthinking, overanalyzing, don't fall into that as well. And you don't always have to have the last word. Sagittarius fire signs, we like to hunt down those last words, and I have to have the last word. And we don't have to have the last word to prove our point, but moving and making action and making the last impression last forever is much stronger than any last word that you can have. So
I'm
remember
a
that.
Sagittarius. So sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you on that. I'm a Sagittarius and I couldn't agree more with having to have the last word sometimes.
Right? So, you know, and that's
Oh,
and
girl, I
we
never
just need to
shut
be
up.
mindful of that.
I never shut up, like ever.
Sagittarius do like to talk. That is very common. Fire signs like to talk. We all have our own ways of communication. And in this, you know, it's great to get fired up, right? But let's get fired up in a positive way that works for ourselves and that doesn't burn us down. The 24th, Mars moves into Sagittarius, so there's some more fire energy for you of movement forward. Mars rules Aries, right? And Aries is the beginning of the zodiac, the Fool card of the tarot, right? And that's moving forward, new adventure, right? That leap off of the cliff into the unknown, stepping into the forest, even though we can't see, we're leading with our heart and we're believing and we're taking those actions forward. It's a great time for manifestations to start, to go, to move, have that action. And then we've got all this other fire behind us, pushing us and believing us. So let's believe in ourselves as well. With that, Mars energy and that fire energy, remember it takes steps. Don't get stuck and don't give up because it didn't happen in a day, right? Nothing happens in a day. It might take a week, a month, a year, so on and so forth. What you need to focus on is taking a step every single day. Even if we have to take one back, we're still 2 steps forward than we were, right? So don't get mad that it's not happening like this right away. Steady is the way to get there. Steady is the way to your goal. It's like
Slow and steady wins the race.
yes. And this Mars energy, this fire energy, okay, we still have a lot of earth energy going on too, right? So let's take the logs we would put into a fire, and we want to do it one by one so we can burn steady through the night, through the week, through the month, through the year. If we take the whole bundle of firewood and throw it into the fire, boy, it looks amazing, right? It's warm, it's bright, it's, oh my gosh, it's gorgeous and it's tall. But what happens? It burns out fast. It fizzles out and it's gone and it didn't sustain us. So we want to take this Mars energy and put it into something that sustains us for the long run. So take the fire energy and the earth energy and have them work together to sustain over a long period of time for our goals. And then on the 27th, the full moon is in Sagittarius, right? So now we've built up all this power, all this intention, all this manifestation, and now it's time to harness this power on the full moon and put it to use, to find where it should flow, to engulf ourselves and stand in our power and stand in our energy and ask the universe and the powers or the deities that you work with to help you direct this power and this energy that you have to where it needs to be in your life. Direct me where to put this. I've built it up and now I'm sending it out and I'm going to use it. Help me to direct it for the highest good and the strongest purpose in my life. And direct that energy there and build on that energy, right? So right now we're in the waning and we're releasing. And then in the dark moon, we're going to sit with all of this and ponder what we need. And then we're going to move into the waxing, into the new moon, into the waxing, and we're building it up and we're building it up. And then on the full moon, we're putting this into full force and we're sending it out for the universe to help us use it, direct this energy to where it can go so we can use it in a positive, good way to move our life forward. With all of this said, and with all of this fire energy coming at us, please remember, do not burn your candle from both ends. Do not burn yourself out. Do not throw all your logs on the fire. We feel the go, we feel the push, but don't burn yourself out. And be aware if your energy is maybe burning someone else's candle or melting them down. Are you putting too much on yourself? Are you putting too much on someone else? We want a steady burn. We don't want to burn from both ends, and we don't want to melt someone else down. So be mindful of yourself and others around you, because this fire energy is intense. So we got to find that balance of going, but not too strong and fizzling out, and not putting too much on others and expecting them to burn at the same rate we are, because we can't do that. We can only worry about our own energy. So with all of that said, I feel like November is positive, it's uplifting, it's a time for movement, a time for joy. Don't get stressed out about the holidays coming. Make a plan. Make a plan for Thanksgiving. Make a plan if birthdays are coming up. Make a plan for Christmas or Yule or whatever you celebrate, whatever your holidays are. Make a plan so that you can execute them and you're not burning from both ends. It's a beautiful, beautiful time of relief and family and love and moving into the next version of ourselves. So write down the plan. Come to it often. Write down your manifestations. Focus on them during the time that we're building up and the steps we have to take, and do the work. And don't stress yourself out. Remember to take a breath of the earth and the water energy and use the fire energy to push you to that next place that you need to be. So that is our November forecast. And I feel like I got through that a little bit faster than the last one. And we don't really have any holidays to go over. You know, on the wheel of the year, we do have Thanksgiving coming up, which is a beautiful, beautiful time to spend with family. If you celebrate that, come together, be thankful. It's a wonderful month for gratitude, and to live in that gratitude, work from that gratitude. The love of yourself onto others is a beautiful, beautiful time. Did you have a question, Jordy?
I just wanted to also recognize that it's Indigenous Peoples Month, and to acknowledge and recognize and look at that history even more so than the Pilgrims.
For sure. For sure. Thank you.
To an
That is very,
extent.
very true. And what, you know, when I think about Thanksgiving, I just think about gratitude and abundance and love. It's, for me, it is not based in pilgrims or pillaging or taking over. I really, for myself, it's just about gratitude and family and showing love. And so, you know, whatever that and harvest. It's a lot of, harvest. We're harvesting right now. We're bringing in, we're getting ready for the winter. We're making our stores, right? And filling our cupboards. Of course, that's different because it looks different now. We can go to the store, but I like to fill up with, gratitude and love and all of that. And so thank you, Jordy, for pointing that out, because yes, that is much more important than focusing on the other aspect of it. Okay, so now we are going to go into altars and what that looks like for different types of altars, for what that can look like in your home. And then we're going to talk about tools and how to use them and all of the fun things, right? First and foremost, do you need any of this? Nope, not at all. Do you want it? Sure. Does it help? Sure. It's a layer. And yes, I love that. A massive feast and take all the food down to the homeless shelters with my kids and have my kids pass out the plates. I love that. That is definitely a beautiful way to celebrate this season. That is beautiful. That is beautiful. So what is an altar? Because altars can mean something to everyone. That definitely makes the holiday special, for sure. For sure. And even if you're by yourself, it's gratitude for the things that you have, share with others, taking food, making donations, outreaching of hands of love. Not everyone celebrates it, and that's okay too. Just that grateful and that love coming from that place is a beautiful, beautiful thing. So altars. Altar really means a sacred space to work, a sacred space to meditate, to be calm in your home. Whatever that looks like for you, what does a sacred space mean to you? Because I can't tell you what that means. I can go over the general idea of altars, but ultimately in the end, it is up to you where you set up this space, where you use the space, how you use it, and what it means to you and what it brings into your life. Only you can answer those questions, and only you can bring that energy to your space or to your altar. So, types of altars. First, an altar can be anything. It can be a table. It can be a cupboard. It could be a shelf. It could be the top of your dresser. It can look like anything. So I think social media has put an expectation on what an altar should look like, what should be on it, and what you should do with it. And as fun as it is to look at all these fun, oh my gosh, on Pinterest or influencers or different things like that of what their altars look like, it's fun. And we can draw inspiration from it, but it can be as simple as a candle on your dining room table. It can be as extravagant as an altar that sits up all the time in a special room that's covered in all kinds of stuff. But neither one is more or less than the other. And it can be something you show, and it can be something you hide, because not everyone is in a place where they can have their altar out and proud. So sometimes it's a candle that we light, or sometimes maybe it's in a cupboard like the one behind me, or a simple shelf that just means something to you. And all of that is okay, and all of it is right, and there is no wrong way. I am just going to go over some general ideas that you can draw from. So, a working altar is a place, a space that we do our work on, that we come to and maybe put spells together. We keep our tools on, we can do rituals from, do your divination, your tarot work, working with your pendulum, doing spells on, coming and working with your deities if you have deities that you work with. And that would be a working altar that you're actually coming interacting on and with and working on. So like my working altar has all kinds of stuff on it, and it is where I like to pull tarot cards from. It is like where I like to set up my spells and do my spell works, where I light candles from. It has ash all over it from the incense that I burn. It isn't perfect, it isn't pristine, and it's where I'm doing my workings. And that would be a working altar. Once again, that could be a shelf. Okay, mine happens to be a table. For a very, very long time, I would take my tools and bring them out onto whatever surface that I could do my working on. And a lot of times that was in my bedroom on my dresser. Sometimes it would be the dining room table because that's where I could get it set up, because sometimes my dresser was covered in laundry that I didn't want to put away. That's a theme in my life, not wanting to put laundry away. So that for a long time was that. When my oldest son moved out, I got to set up in this amazing space that I love. And I wanted to set up an altar. And so I manifested a table for my altar. If it was meant to be, when I went to Savers that day, the thrift store, I was going to find something in the budget of $20 that I had to bring home and set up. And if I didn't find that, then I was going to come home and find something around my house that I could set up in this space to be a permanent altar. And I happened to find a desk with 2 drawers and a seat for $18.95. And I brought it home and I set it up, and it was stinking amazing. And if that wasn't going to happen, I was going to pull an old nightstand out from outside and set it up, because then that's what was meant for me in that time and in that moment. And that is my working altar. And later, if there is interest, I can take pictures of the altars that I have set up around my house. If anybody is interested in just seeing what that looks like to get inspiration, or just pull from your own, that's totally up to you. Trying to unhook and take my camera around right now just seems fumble bums, so I'm not gonna do it. So yeah, so I can do that and put it in the chat later for you. Then we have a shrine or a deity's altar. Now, remember, a working altar or whatever altar you want can have all or none of this on it, okay? But some people like to have a shrine or a deity's altar, and that is for gods and goddesses that you work with, for prayers, for meditation, for honoring them, for leaving offerings to them. And people have those set up, and you could have a statue of the god or goddess that you work with, or you can have an animal that represents that god or goddess, something that represents them. It doesn't have to be a statue of them, and people have them set up specifically just for that energy and that honoring of their deities, gods, or goddesses. I personally do not work with a specific god or goddess. So when I talk about that, I can't like name off what this is or what it isn't, because I just haven't had that connection yet personally myself. I will say I do have a shelf for Gaia. for that Mother Earth energy, because I do like to tap into that. So I guess that probably is a goddess that I work with, in the sense of I like to harness that mothering nature in my life. I love nature, and that is what, witch work, a lot of that is what it is all about, is working with the earth and the energies and all of that, and that's what she represents for me. So I do have a shelf and a statue of her, and that is, to me, honoring all of the earth and mothering energy that is around. I have a kitchen altar that I have for giving offerings to the energies, spirits, and gods and goddesses that choose to work with me in my home and in my spell work. It is very non-specific. I have a small goddess, like symbol of the goddess that is on there. And then I heard, yeah, I'll get to that in just a second, Andrea. And then I have Green Man on there for like the masculine god energy. And those represent that for me. And in the morning, I put water in one offering bowl, sometimes coffee, I don't know, whatever comes to me. Sometimes I put a little, bourbon in there, because they all enjoy that. It's for all spirits and for all energies, and deities that choose to work with me, and it engulfs them all. And then I have another one that I put almonds or cranberries or a food offering in. Now, the water usually evaporates, right? And then the food offerings, when I feel that they have been there, and they're kind of losing their energy potent, and that the offering has been taken and enjoyed, then I take them outside and I give my thanks to the energies that work with me. And then I always make sure it's something that the animals outside can eat, and I toss them in my front yard, as thanks and gratitude, and for them to then be fed upon from the animals and the earth and be reused. That's what I do. That is very personal to me. That might look completely different for you. There's also ancestry altars, like we talked about in October, for honoring our ancestors, our loved ones. That might be a shelf that you put pictures and offerings on, and you don't have to have them up during October only, year round, to honor our loved ones and come and give thanks. And the same things, you can put offerings, if Uncle Bob liked to smoke, leave a cigarette for Uncle Bob on there. If Grandma Jane loved a shot of tequila, put a shot of tequila on there for her. Bake bread, put bread on there, put cakes, throughout the year. It is up to you, but it's not an altar that just has to go up once a year. But once again, that is up to you when you do that. Then there is a seasonal altar that a lot of people like to have. And it goes with the wheel of the year or the seasons that we're going through. And a lot of people, so like in fall, you would clear it off and put it with fall, put some leaves and acorns and what symbolizes that energy of fall to you. Maybe that's, some smoky quartz and carnelian and beautiful leaves from outside and acorns and, pine cones, whatever fall represents for you. And then on certain Sabbats, people will put their offerings on there for the different Sabbats. I have an altar in my living room underneath my TV. It's a very long, you wouldn't even know that that's what it is. And it's very seasonal in that sense as well too. But it also is the feeling that I want my house and my family to have. So there's a lot of crystals that hone that energy on there. I also keep my prosperity spell bowl on there because I am drawing in prosperity into my home, and I want my whole family to benefit from that spell bowl. So that is, what I do. And then I have it decorated for the season, and then I will take certain things off and put certain things on. As we go into Yule, it's more, wintry and Christmassy. And I like to put fall leaves on there during fall. And in spring, I love adorning it with fresh flowers and things like that. So that would be a seasonal altar. And then there's travel altars, because some people want to be able to do their work no matter where they go. And that can be as small as a tin can and a candle to light and say your blessings and your prayers and that energy that you want to draw in while you're traveling. Or it could be a wooden box that has crystals and candles and parchment paper to write petitions on. It can be as extravagant as you want it to be. You know what you need if you want to travel with it. And some people choose not to have travel altars because it's just another thing to put in their suitcase. And that's okay too. So we don't have to have anything we don't want. And then there is an outdoor altar, which could just be an outdoor space that you like to go and meditate in. Or maybe it's an amazing tree stump that you have. God, I wish I had a tree stump. Like maybe it's a tree stump that you sit at and you do your spell work during the times of year that you can. Because obviously, in certain places, like most of you are in, you are not going out in 2-degree weather to set a spell in the snow on a tree stump. So that might be more of a spring and summer altar. Or maybe during the winter, when the weather is bad, maybe instead of setting spells, you go out and you leave offerings there. So it really is up to you what altar you like, what it looks like, where it is in your home, if it's out and proud, if it's inconspicuous, if it's simple or extravagant. It is completely up to you. Yeah. So I can go over all of that. I have like 20 stumps. I totally do that in the winter. Heck yeah. I wish I had stumps. I wish. Right now I have where I usually plant my garden in my backyard. And over the summer, I realized, you know what? I really want to make that into more of a meditation and outdoor spell area. And I want to plant plants and have some herbs out there and different stuff. So that is something that I want to work towards, of having also an outdoor space, not just this indoor space, and somewhere, that my children and I can hang out in and have like that very magical feel. And I can sit and watch the kids play when they're on the trampoline. I am a very big porch dweller, so I love being on my porch all the time, but I would love to have a place in the backyard that is also just for me. And my family, and that energy of doing that outside. And if my Wi-Fi is good enough, maybe someday I will teach my classes from out there as well too. So, dreams, right? So, yeah, gardens are a beautiful way, grow herbs, tomatoes, all of the things. It doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be extravagant. And it's great if you find stuff in nature, and it's just as good if you buy it from a store. So don't think that you have to go and forage all of this stuff if you don't have that stuff around you. Buying it off of Etsy and making it your own is just as powerful. Girl, get your food on. Jordy, you can eat anytime you want to. You do not have to. I mean, I might be a little jealous that you're eating right now, but I won't hold it against you. So different traditions have different ways that an altar should be set up. So going to what Andrea had typed in, about direction or tools or different things like that. Okay, good. Eat for me. Eat for me. Take the calories for me. Eat for me. Gain the weight for me. And then I'll just live vicariously. Destroy that thing, girl. Get it. So I am not Wiccan. I am a solitary practitioner, and I move with what speaks to me and what intentions I am feeling at the time. You can look up how specific things are set up on altars if you want to follow a tradition. I do not follow a tradition. Traditionally, especially like in Wicca or different practices, the altar is set up facing north. That is traditionally how that is done. Jody, did you have a question?
Yeah, if I could figure out how to unmute myself. I'm having such a bad computer day today. So I'm surrounded by a lot of Wiccan practitioners, and so I ask questions and stuff like that, and I get told a lot of the same stuff. And when I say, well, I kind of don't do that, I kind of do my own thing,
Yes.
it's like
You
it's
get
like
side eye.
taboo.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Like, is that a normal thing? Because again, this is kind of all new, right? So, but like, it's perfectly fine to just kind of do your own what you're comfortable with, right? And
Yes.
not, you don't have to follow any specific, like
No.
if there's something from the Wiccan that that
Yeah. Adapt it. Adopt it. Use it.
that suits you, and then there's something that you see somebody else do that calls to you, I guess is what I'm saying.
Right.
That's totally within the realm of, it doesn't have to be this specific way if you're this or if you're that, right? Okay.
Correct.
Okay, cool.
So the whole goal for me for teaching this class is to just show you a path to find your own way and your own magic and the things that work for you. There is no wrong way. There is no one right way. Now, in certain traditions, I want to break down the gatekeeping. That is my goal of this class, is for you to find and stand and work in your own power, however that works for you. So if you see something from Wicca that works for you, adapt it, adopt it, love it, and use it. If you find something from another tradition that you love, adapt it, use it, love it. Be careful of cultural appropriation and closed practices. That is not what I am saying. I am not saying adopt a closed practice unless someone from that closed practice brings you in and teaches you how to do it the way that it is to be done, and you have that I guess, permission to use that because they are showing you how to do that. They're teaching you the ways to do that. So if it is a closed practice, I'm not saying take that closed practice and go around and do it without the knowledge of what goes behind that. But what I am saying is if someone goes, oh, your altar faces west, well, none of your magic's going to work because it has to face north. No, it doesn't, because my altar faced west and I have never seen anything but positive come off of it. So if north is where you want to put it put it facing north. North is earth, abundance, manifestation. So maybe you want that. But not all of our houses are set up to where we can put something in the north. So what are we supposed to do? Set up an altar in the bathroom that faces north? Like, no, thank you. Some of us have, south facing or west or east, or maybe there's windows that we don't want to set up in, or our house just isn't set up that way, or maybe we're not in a house because we live with other people that we can be out and proud about it. And so we need to have it in our closet that face east. And that's okay too. So north is traditional in some practices, but it doesn't have to be traditional in yours. North is earth, abundance, and manifestation. We have south, which represents fire, and that's ambition and creation and rebirth. Then you have west, which is water, emotion, psychic abilities, dream work, working with the afterlife. You can have west, which is I'm sorry, I went through them all. South. I was reading mine. I have mine, which face west here in my room that I'm in right now. My kitchen one face east, and my living room face west. So I have none that face north whatsoever, and I have never seen anything but positive come out of my work. So it's I'm going to be real. I feel when you are moving with your intuition and you are setting up with what you feel in your space, it is only going to add to the power of your altar or what you're setting up, your communication or the work that you do on it. So it's up to you how you set it up, but there is no right and there is no wrong. It can be as simple or as ornate as you want. So some of the tools that people put on their altar, and once again, in certain traditions, there is certain tools, certain things that they say you need to have on there. But once again, I don't follow any of that because I'm a solitary practitioner and I say what goes in my house and on my altar and into my work. So just some ideas of things that you can put on there is you can do bells. You can have a bell like this. This is the one that sits on my altar to clear the energy, to start a spell, to end a spell, to break stagnation. You can use symbols like this. I use these to clear my personal space, my head, and these stay on the actual workspace that I'm on right now. I love these. I also have a singing bowl that you can use to clear the space. And like I said, to start or to end spells as a symbol of starting and ending and, all of that stuff. Then an athame is a knife. This one's mine. It's simple. It's acrylic. Some people like to use an actual sharp knife for that. And a theme is you can use it to energetically cut cords, to cut ties, to direct your energy, to start your spells. A lot of people use them to cast their circles. It is not used to actually cut, like physically cut anything. Usually people will actually have like a separate knife that they use. Mine is, I don't know, somewhere over there on one of my shelves. Yeah, cleanse multiple crystals at once. Symbols are great for that. Singing bowls are great for that. Bells are really good for that. Also the energy in the room or in your house, especially if you don't like to smoke cleanse. Not everyone can smoke cleanse. And so bells are really great for that. So it goes the same thing on your altar. Yeah, directing energy, all of that good stuff. So that would be an athame. A lot of people use it to do their circles. An altar cloth can be, yeah, a lot of people don't like sage or anything else, resins or incense, anything like that. So bells are really, really good. Singing bowls are great for that. An altar cloth is any cloth. It can be any material. It can have symbols on it. It can be green, red, yellow, orange, blue, black, gold. It doesn't matter. An altar cloth is basically something that you are putting over your space to initiate that this is where I'm doing my work. This is a sacred space for my work. So that is what an altar cloth is used for. And you do not even need an altar cloth if it doesn't speak to you. Don't do one. My altar cloth on my table over here, I love it. It has sugar skulls all over it. And, you know, skulls are for protection. And one, it makes my heart happy. And it's cotton that my mom bought for me from Joanne's. You can use silk, you can use lace, you can use anything you want. If you're working for prosperity, you can make it green. You can do whatever you want, is what I'm telling you. But that is what an altar cloth is. Some people like to have it with the moon phases on it. It's up to you what that looks like. Some people like to have the elements, a representation of, I was gonna say that, that they're just demons that need to get out. But I was like, I don't want to offend her. Also, people who don't like pumpkin spice, because if you look at pumpkin spice, it's all cleansing and protective spices that go into it. And so I always say, if you don't like pumpkin spice, then you must need to must be a demon. So anyways, but elements. So elements, some like to have representation of fire, earth, air, and water on their altar. So what can that look like? Fire can be a candle. It could be matches. It could be a crystal that represents fire. It can be anything. It could be a picture of fire. It can be whatever you want. And you don't even have to have them on there. Okay. And then water could be literally water. It could be a seashell. It could be, once again, a picture of water, anything that represents water to you. It could be a crystal, aquamarine, that represents water. There is no wrong or right way. Air is usually incense or a feather, or you could be like me. I have little tiny jars like this big that I got from the Dollar Tree, and one has water in it, one has a candle without a lid on it, one has literally air from outside in it. I cleansed it with incense. Then I went outside and I caught a strong breeze in there and I closed it and I put it on my altar because it's literally air. And then I have one for earth, and it has some little tiny sticks that I found that I liked. I put a little bit of dirt in there, and it has some rocks. You could use for earth, like I said, all of those things. You could use crystals. You could use salt. Anything that represents earth, water, air, and fire to you, you can use. If you don't want it on your altar because you don't have space, don't put it on your altar. There's no wrong or right way. I also have in the center of that a pillar candle, tall ones that are in the glass, to represent spirit. And so when I'm working or I'm doing any of that, I light the candle as representation to my connection to spirit when I'm doing my work. That's just me. A chalice, I don't have a chalice. Oh, actually I do, but it's over there. Anyway, a chalice, and that is like divine feminine. You can also put sacred wine, you can put water, you can use it for offerings. If you don't have a chalice and you want a bowl to represent that. Also the athame, one of the things with this is this does represent masculine and the divine masculine. So you have the athame, which is masculine, and the chalice, which is feminine, if those are things that you want on there. A cauldron to burn. This is my little tiny mini cauldron that I love, that I got to burn things in. So if you're burning intentions or petitions or resin or incense for those, some kind of fireproof vessel, I don't know, this one's just a tiny little thing that I got and I absolutely love it. Yeah, it just has all my burnings in it. And then if you want to have representation of a god or a goddess on there, whatever that looks like for you, put that on there. Those are the very basic of what generally people have on their altar. Some have them on there all the time, some don't. I like to keep a small broom. This actually hangs above my altar and I use it to energetically clear any of the energy and get that stagnation and sweep it off. It's really good for sweeping off all the ashes from my incense as well too. So handy. And it smells like cinnamon. So for protection, Dollar Tree people, Dollar Tree. Dog hair, yes, yes, yes. And then also with, altars, they, it depends on how much we interact with them, right? But they're all going to kind of like collect dust. We can reset them anytime we want. And one of the ways that I really like to reset and clean my altar, and I'm not saying reset, like get rid of the magic, because that's not what we're doing. We're resetting it up. We're reconnecting with our altar and we're getting rid of any like dust, dog hair, stagnant energy, or maybe if like we've had like a bad month and we feel like that energy has laid upon our altar, let's clean that off. And so one of my favorite ways is my feather duster. Okay, it's great on crystals. It's wonderful to dust crystals. It's gentle. I mean, if they're really small, it's gonna flick them. But also too, I love this, and I blessed it and I connected with it and I gave it intention, which I'm going to go over in just a second how to do that. One way to do that with your altar tools. But another way is I like to take some full moon water. Yeah, a rose quartz cup would totally work for a chalice. Definitely. Anything. My chalice is actually green onyx. And I forgot that I had it because I got it like 2 months ago or something like that, maybe 3, and I put it on a shelf and it hasn't even made it to my altar. So, but yeah, and a chalice is used like for its representation of the divine feminine, or if you are doing something and you want to leave offerings, or you want are doing maybe a ritual and you have some wine to drink at the end, or you want to drink some water or different things, or use water in your spells, you can put it in the chalice first and then it's blessed with that energy. So it's really up to you in your practice how you use it, and like I said, you can have it or not. And then another way I like to is I like to take some moon water and I like to heat it up on the stove, and I like to put some rosemary in it, or if you have sage, put sage in it. And the best part about this is you only need a little bit, right? And you can just put your cloth in it and wipe your stuff down and then wipe your crystals down. And it's just getting rid of that stagnant, energy or anything you don't want, but it's not getting rid of the magic. Okay, we're not getting rid of the magic because we're sitting at our altar, and the more we use our tools and the more we use our altar and the more we touch our stuff, the more we're bonding with it, the more they're infusing and becoming one with us. And we want to infuse it with that magic. We want to be magic in our lives, right? Like that's what we're doing. That is all of this. And then they're bonding with us and they're moving with us, and they just become an extension of ourselves. I also have a selenite wand that I really like that I use to clear the energy around. I use it to clear my field before I do work. And then I also use it over my altar as well too. I'm extra. I do a lot of stuff. Do as little or as much as you want. So blessing and connecting with our tools, right? And I'm going to go into some other tools that we can use in spell work too. But at this point, so how do we bless and connect with our tools, right? Like I got this amazing cauldron. Do I just set it on my altar? Sure, go ahead. Put it on your altar. Let it connect through there. It's up to you how you do it. personally, I don't like to put anything on my altar before I cleanse it, minimum. But cleansing and blessing our tools. So how can we connect with our tools? So what you can do is all you need is the tool, the incense, a fireproof dish, a lighter, or a match. It's super easy, and your visualization. So what I do, and I don't have any incense, so we're going to pretend this is incense. I set everything up. I take a few breaths. I calm. I fill myself with the intention of connecting with my tools. And I ground a little bit. It's nothing big. It's not, you could do it in 2 seconds. And I center myself. And then I light my incense and I put it in my dominant hand. And then I put my other one in my other hand. And I just cleanse the energy, any negative energy, any lower vibrations that are not for my highest good. Release. I release all the negative energy from my cauldron. I release all the negative energy from my cauldron and I connect with it for my highest power, my highest good, and to be used in all my workings and to be blessed with joy into my life. And then I just put my incense down and I hold it in my hand and I visualize my energy beaming out from my hands and from my body, lighting up my cauldron with all my intent and my energy as we bond into one. And I feel it glowing and pulsing in my hands and it becoming one with me. And then I'm done. And that's it. And I'm connected. And it's simple and it's easy and it's from the heart and it's whatever you want to say. And then you can place it down on your altar and move on to the next. And it doesn't even, oh, thank you. And it doesn't even have to be as complicated. And to be honest, that's not written down. And sometimes it's different for every single one. Or while I'm doing it, one of my favorites is I blow my energy into it while I'm doing it. And I just close my eyes and I blow my breath and my energy into it. And I watch it light up from the point that I'm blowing into it and that I'm bonding with it and that my intention is blowing in. So I have my glow and I have my blow. And that's it. And it's as simple as that. That's it. Now, maybe you have an oil, right? So now I've connected, I've cleansed it, I've connected, and maybe I have a special oil that I like to put on all my tools. So I would dip my finger in and I would put the oil on it. Maybe that's a sigil. Maybe it's just rubbing all over. Maybe it's my initials. Maybe I do that with moon water. Maybe I have something, not this, but maybe I have something that's sharp enough that I carve my sigil into it or my initials into it. Whatever speaks to you is the right way. And maybe you don't want to smoke cleanse, so don't smoke cleanse. Maybe you spray as long as it can handle water. You can make the same spray that you were cleaning your altar with water and sage and rosemary, and you can do the same thing, spray it on, cleanse it, put those intentions into it. And there you go. It's cleansed, it's connected, and it's ready for your magic and for you to be a part of and to use. So now just really quick into tools. Time to 5:36. Okay, we're at an hour and a half. I'm almost done, I swear, guys. Tools that we can use in our spell book. First, our body. Our body is the most important tool that we have. Please do not do spell work when you are sick. It takes a lot out of you to do spell work. If you are sick and you want to do something to make yourself feel better, make it simple, make it easy. ask for that to come in. That probably maybe would be making tea and putting some healing crystals around it and asking the crystals to infuse it with healing. Please do not do any spell work when you are sick. Big spells, it will wreck you. It will put you down. If you want to, it's up to you. This is just my warning. Okay, do what you will with it. Did you have a question, Jordy?
I just wanted to show you how creepy we were. Is this real? Is this real life?
With our cauldrons combined, our magical witchy powers shall unite.
I was
love
like,
I love
I'm
it. I love
pretty
it.
sure I have that same cauldron.
I love it. Oh my God, I love it. So for spell work, our body, our imagination, our intention, our manifestation, our breath, our dreams, that is our biggest tool. And that is all we need. We are equipped from start to finish. I can try to put the saying that literally just came from inside of me in
She
the
is
moment.
so good at doing that and then not remembering what she just said.
But I will, let me make a note. Chat. Oh, here, wait, I should do it over here. In chat, put wording. Okay, I will do my best to recreate that. Like I said,
I was gonna say we can because I remember quite a bit of it. So we'll write it down after
Yeah.
class.
Yeah,
And
I can totally
put
write it
in
down
the
after
files
class.
on-
You wanna
Totally,
see my
for sure.
cauldron?
Yes.
Okay, just a
course.
second. I gotta go get it.
I
Oh,
love
okay.
that, Jody. Jody put Wonder Twins activate.
Wonder Witch twins.
That's right. So, be careful if you're not feeling 100% doing work, because it can affect the spell. It's up to you, but that is just, I choose not to myself when I am sick, because I don't want that infused into my spell and into my work. Dressing for a spell. I like to dress for my spells. I have a beautiful green nightgown that I absolutely love that I got, and it has a matching robe, and it makes me feel magical. It makes me feel powerful, and it makes me just feel like a goddess. And so I dress for my spells in that. Oh, here comes Andrea's cauldron. Ooh, that's a good big one. Oh, it keeps going in and out, but I can see that is massive.
Is it the same one that Carrie has?
But
It
it's
looks
bigger
like
than
it.
mine.
That is big. That's a
That's
big
bigger
one.
than mine.
That's a big one.
Yeah, that's bigger than mine. That's gorgeous. So, oh, Candace has hers. Look at that. I love it. It's brass. I love it.
I have a frying
Oh, I
pan.
love
A
You
frying
what?
pan is perfect. I love that.
Oh God, that's
Dude,
beautiful,
that's beautiful.
Candace.
That brass is beautiful.
And I
That
love the
brass
little
is gorgeous.
legs. The legs are awesome.
Yes, cast
I'm so-
iron. Yes, cast iron frying pan.
Yes.
That's perfect. That's perfect. That is absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
I love those the little tiny mini ones that you could like make one egg in. I'm always like, that's so perfect for a spell. Like, that's where my mind goes. Most people think
This
Friday.
is my cauldron.
I love it. No, that's perfect. That is super. And what a wonderful example of a cauldron can be anything.
Yeah, I
Because
tried to
that's,
make it so that you could see it because the video is just not working, showing it, but it's bigger than your two
yeah.
and it had a pentacle on it.
Oh, beautiful. I love that.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. I love that.
Thank you.
I love that. So when I dress for my spells, and you don't have to, okay, this is just another layer. I am just putting ideas out to think about. So please don't think that you have to do this, okay? But my my nightgown is green and it makes me feel wonderful. And I use it mostly in my prosperity spells or if I'm trying to manifest something, right? So a lot of the manifesting is what I do in that. In other work, like when I was doing my spell bowl for more movement and activity and weight loss, I dressed in workout clothes. I dressed in my favorite workout outfit and I casted the spell in my workout outfit because that aligned with what I was bringing to fruition. I put sneakers on, I put my workout outfit on, and that's what I cast in because that's what I want. That is the energy that I am bringing to my spell. Other times I have a cloak that I love to wear just for general spell work. So it just depends on what you're doing and what that represents for you. Now, I feel the more we touch, the more we use, the more these things, the more they're infused with our energy and with our magic. So maybe it's a necklace you put on, right? Like a key for unblocking. Maybe it's certain rings you adorn yourself with. Maybe it's a veil that you put on, or maybe it's a headdress that you make that you wear every time you do it. And maybe it's something mine broke. So I was going to show you guys the one that I made. I showed Jordy, but it broke, so I have to fix it. Maybe it's something simple as that. Or maybe it's nothing at all because we're just moving in the moment. And that's all that matters is that we're taking action. We don't have to have the perfect outfit, the perfect cloth, the perfect setup, the perfect tools. We just have to have the perfect moment to move in. And that is the moment that you're doing it because that's perfect. Doesn't matter when or how, it's just that you're doing it. And yeah, getting naked, that is perfect. That divine feminine energy and loving your body is absolutely perfect for spell work. Absolutely. Yeah, a crown like that. Exactly, Jody. You know, whatever speaks to you is what's going to make your magic stronger. And maybe it's nothing, or maybe it's putting your hair up, or maybe it's putting your hair down. What this does is it gets us in that mindset and that energy for our spell. Crystals, of course, crystals help us, right? So depending on the crystal, depending on the spell, use that, use it with that. Put them around your spell. Oh, beautiful. Oh, shells and moonstone, that's gorgeous. Put the crystals around your spell work, put them in your spell work. Are they aligned with your spell work? Obviously, protection would be tourmaline and obsidian and snowflake obsidian. If you're doing psychic work, you probably would want to use like azurite or blue kyanite to, you know, open up and speak through. If we're harnessing the Sagittarius or fire energy, maybe some carnelian, right, to get us moving. So crystals or herbs, rosemary, protection, cinnamon, prosperity, movement. You want to heat something up, use peppers. If you want to cool something down, use something like mint because it's cooling, right? So it's what it represents for you. You can go look it all up in the books, right? But what is it? We know rosemary is protection. We know salt is protection. We know cinnamon is protection and prosperity. Cloves hurt, right? Protection, because they're freaking sharp, right? When you're putting them in the oranges and you're like, ow, yeah, right? For our apple cider. Lavender is calming. Roses are love. Violets are blue. You know, so it's just those inherent things, okay? Eggshells, protection, right? Thorns from a rose. Thorns are roses protection. Cat's claws, like when they fall out and you find them, pick them up, that's perfect for protection. Nails, rusty things, you know, for keeping people away from you or adding that intention into your spells and into your jars. Pictures. If you're manifesting something you want, put a picture with it, put a picture in it. Tarot cards, use tarot cards in your spells. If you are looking for abundance, use pentacles, the 10 of pentacles. If you're looking for work, that would be the 6 of pentacles, right? If we're doing dreams and abundance and new starts or things like that, then you want to use the aces. If we're looking for thoughts, right, then we're using swords. If we're doing movement, we're using wands. If we're looking for balance, we're going to go find the justice card, right? So you can use all of these in your magic, in your spells. You can put them on your altar while you're doing this. On my altar, I have it's an oracle card, and it's the witch, because that is the energy that I am bringing to my altar. That is the energy. I'm using my powers. I am honing my inner witch to do these spells. Wands, if you have a wand, use your wand to direct energy when you're doing your spell. This here is not my wand. I use this to carve all of my candles. It is a porcupine spine, spickle, I don't know, whatever they're called. Okay, it's sharp and it's crazy, and I use it to carve all of my candles. So this
It's
is
a
my
quill.
secret quill. Thank you. Wasn't coming out. Come on, blue kyanite. So the quill is what I use to carve all of my candles. Wands, candle carving tool, worry dolls. Worry dolls are great to use in spells. I use worry dolls in a lot of my spells. I whisper all of my worries into them and all the things and then that I don't want to worry about. And then I either put them in the spell to collect all of those worries so that the bowl and the manifestation of the jar can do its work, or I burn them because I don't want to think about those worries anymore. So I love worry dolls. Yeah, Jordy?
I was just gonna say it's getting creepy now. I have the same porcupine quill and the same worry dolls.
That I sent to you.
I just
Oh my
you weren't
goodness.
supposed to say that part.
Great minds
Thanks.
think alike.
Thanks.
Look, and then I use these bowls that snap together.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Yes, I got
love-
those, and I got bags to put like the crystals in,
Mhm.
and I got
Oh,
other ones.
I have
Like
that same bag.
you do?
That last
Then I
velvet
have
one, yeah.
I have leather ones too.
Oh, that
Yeah.
is awesome. Ooh, it reminds me of Hocus Pocus, like the book.
Like
Or
I
the
was
Hocus
looking for my goddess resin piece I made because I was gonna send you guys a picture of the tables I made, because I also make this to put on there with a mirror facing the other side.
Yes.
Beautiful.
If you
Beautiful.
bring in bullshit, it will be redirected right back at you through the mirror.
Yes.
And so,
No.
also our hair, our nails, don't freak out at the next two, our blood and our pee can be used in spells as well too. Whether you choose to use those or not, those are things that can connect us or keep things away from us to our spells. Okay. I use hair. I use hair when I'm doing a spell for myself. If I have someone else's hair to do a spell with, that's great because it connects it to them. If I don't have that, but I have their address or a picture of them or something that they sent me that they touched, I can use that in the spell because it's going to connect it to them. If I don't have that, then I'm going to write their name and their birth date and the information I do have about them on a piece of paper. And I am not saying necessary baneful magic, but yes, this is also used in baneful magic. But if I'm setting a prosperity spell for someone else, I want something in that spell that connects to them. If I'm setting a self-love spell for someone, I want something that connects to them and to myself as well. On my altar, I have a jar that has my hair in it and some oil that I made. So I am connected to my altar and to the magic that's harnessed in my altar. So no matter where I am, I have that feeling and connection to my altar, and it increases my manifestations no matter where I'm at. Our nails, you know, if we want to move our feet, then you can put your toenail clippings in your spell for movement and for weight loss. Yes, I'm speaking from personal use. And that's in there because I want my feet to move daily. I want to increase my steps. So I'm putting something to do with my feet. Our nails can be protection, right? We can scratch people with them, but we can also bring things in with them. So if we're drawing something to us, we're going to use our hands to bring it in, right? So your nails. Blood, please be responsible when doing that. You can use menstruation, you can prick your finger. Please always, 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 always make sure that it is sterile. And you can go to like CVS, to the pharmacy, and get like the little pricks that they do for diabetics. Please make sure it's sterile. Please clean all, be responsible in that. And some people do that because they're connecting their spell to them, and that's very strong. So it's not always baneful, bad, or negative. And then, of course, if you're going to use pee, you are obviously trying to keep someone away from you, or have that sour, stay away from me kind of thing. If you find sheddings from a reptile, like we were talking about earlier, or bugs, because some bugs do shed, that is transformation. So if you're doing a spell of transformation and wanting to shed skin, that is something wonderful to use in your spells. Mirrors. I use a lot of mirrors in my spell work. I have a mirror that stays on my altar all the time that I have been using from before what I knew was magic, was using magic. Yes. And I set all of my spells on this mirror, and it has been infused with over 20 years of magical workings. And the more you use it, the more magical it is, right? Use it or lose it, right? It goes for our tools as well, too. It goes for our intentions, and it goes for our manifestations. Use it or lose it. The more you use it, the more powerful you are. So I use mirrors. Mirrors will take that and it's reflecting it out. It's reflecting it out. It's sending that energy out. It's adding another layer of out. So my mirror, when I'm not using it, I cover it because it is used for magical workings. Now I have a cover over it. And then when I work with it, I roll the cover back. I work on it. When I'm done, I roll the cover over it. I don't move the mirror. I do my tarot drawings on my mirror. I set things up over it on that fabric. So it's forever increasing its magical power and intention and infusing with me, and that symbiotic like relationship of us flowing together. I will sometimes set a mirror and set my energy. Yeah. Energy portals as well too. Exactly. Mirrors are portals. So be careful. That's one of the reasons that I do cover up my mirror when I am not using it, is for that. You can also, I get these mirrors from the Dollar Tree.
Mm-hmm.
And so I will, depending on how I want to do it, I will set a spell, do a spell on my main mirror, and then I can set it up on this mirror. I cleanse it with salt water, or moon water, whatever I'm feeling in that moment for that spell. And then I will put the jar or the bowl on top of this, and then I will place it somewhere so it's constantly reflecting out that energy. It just depends on how I feel. No to have two mirrors facing each other so bad spirits will not come. Yeah, I've heard that. I don't do that. Some people will take water and put sigils, protection sigils on. Some people cover their mirrors. Mirrors can also be used in spell boxes to trap toxic people, like you put them in a mirror box to do that. Jordy's got her mirror box out. Mirrors are great for scrying. I have obsidian. I like to scry into my obsidian. So it just depends on, but mirrors are great for that too. Bowls of water are great for scrying in. Any reflective surface you can scry in. There are some superstitions that you should never have a mirror in your room because of the portal. While you're sleeping, it can disturb that, this, that, whatever. If your closets are mirrors, what do you can cover them, put protection sigils on them, whatever you feel moved to do. I like to use glitter in my spells because glitter is like little tiny mirrors that are just reflecting all of this like wonderful good energy out. So I use glitter in all of my spells. Unless I'm not gonna bind someone with glitter. Okay, that's different. So, well, and you know what too? Here's the thing. Yeah, that would be the thing with mirrors is, are you putting that belief into the mirror and what can come through it? So if you've never thought about it and you've never given that over to let your mirrors have something come in, then it's not going to come in. If you're worried about it, cover it. If you're worried about it, put a protection sigil on it. Yes, glitter is awesome. I am forever using glitter in my spells because it's like 10,000 little tiny mirrors in your spell reflecting it out. And like, who doesn't get joy and happy from glitter? Okay, first of all, and the prettier your spell looks, the more you're into it, right? Like the more energy you're putting into it. Like that's the whole thing. You don't have to, but it's that issue, or sorry, I was reading this. I've never had any issues any more than I already have. So well, it's that issue. It's that intention that don't put issues in your spells, guys. The glitter, it's pretty, it's fun, it's uplifting. And to me, it's like putting 10,000 mirrors inside your spell. And it's sparkling and it's sending that intent out. So I use glitter in all of my spells, pretty much. Visualization and imagination. If you can see it, you can create it. So if you can see it up here, if you can visualize it up here, you can create it out here with your magic. Jars and bowls are great for, right, holding spells. We have our spells in them. Sometimes we create jars. Sometimes our spells are as simple as a candle spell. So, candles as well too. Offering bowls, moon or blessed water, oils, perfumes. Exactly, that's how intentions are made. So that's where we're coming from, is all that inside. Oils, perfumes, you can dress your candles in them, you can use them in your spells. You're putting your intention into them, so then you can use them in that way. Talk out loud, talk in your head, it doesn't matter. You can go outside and get sticks and dirt and leaves and all of those things and use them as your wands. You can buy your wand off Etsy. You can find it out in the forest. You can, none is better or less than the other. And you don't have to spend money on anything because your finger is just as powerful as any wand, a theme, or stick you find, because this is directing the energy to where you want it. Your mind is just as powerful as all of that because you are directing it to where you want it. So you can have it all or you can have none of it, but neither is more or less powerful than the other. Okay. And then really quick, this is where I'm going to end, guys, in just a second. I only have a couple minutes. Yes. Yeah, exactly. Okay. My daughter is like, really, mom, another stick? So like we'll just be walking, I pick up a stick and I'm like, would you like to come home with me? Would you like to, because I do like to ask if it's okay, and I only pick up from what has fallen. I never break it off a tree or anything like that. My daughter's like, really, mom, another stick? I don't know why she says that to me.
This is
And
from
they all,
Galveston Beach a couple years ago. I found it on the beach. And I
right.
was,
And it's
there I
and
go. And then this year, as you all know, I got my first official looking wand, because this is my wand that I use. It's not very official looking, but this is my official looking wand, which is my kind,
yes.
which I just had to show it off.
Well, it's beautiful. So we understand.
Right.
So I know I thought Andrea was showing a one too, and then it was her cat's tail. I was like, oh, and then it went whoosh, and I was like, oh, it's a cat's tail. But you know what? Use your cat's tail. Just direct that, hold it and direct that sucker. I don't know. That could be your one too. But my point is it doesn't matter how fancy, how expensive, where you found it, how you obtained it, if you have it or if you don't. Don't let anyone say you have to have something. Like Jody was saying, they say it has to be. No, eliminate all the gatekeeping, because it's your practice, it's your magic, it's your power that you're standing in, it's yours. This is your reality to control. There's Jody's wand right there. That's beautiful. So, oh, and Candace has her wand. See, and this is the best part. They're all different, they're all powerful, and they're all special to us. And that's what matters. And Jordy's going to go get hers right now. So, with that, some people like to talk about Book of Shadows and grimoires. What is a Book of Shadow and what is a grimoire? Ooh, I like that. Put it closer. Ooh, that's pretty. Ooh, chakra. Chakra. I don't have one yet. Well, I have sticks. I just haven't decorated them yet. That's the whole purpose of all those sticks, is to then make my own. So Book of Shadows and Grimoire. What is the difference? Do we need one? Do we have to have one? Does it matter what we call it? Nope. Doesn't matter what you call it. You don't need one. You don't have to have one. If it's not your jam, don't do it. But it is a tool that we can use. Okay. So what is a grimoire versus a Book of Shadows? A grimoire, Shorty's already. A grimoire is more of a book that we can write and share with other people. So it would be something that you wouldn't mind if somebody came in and looked at and read and got information out of. Okay. So it's a general knowledge kind of book that you could be like, oh yeah, you want to know about tarot or astrological or general information, or crystals, or the use of salt, or the use of rosemary, or whatever general information that you could just be like, here you go, no worries, bring it back Tuesday, right? So, oh, that's beautiful. So that is a grimoire, something that you could just be like, here you go, with knowledge that you don't care who looks into it. Basic info. A Book of Shadows, and some people say they're all in the same, and really it is what it is. I'm just saying, this is, you can call it whatever you want. You can call it your book of magic. I don't care. A Book of Shadows is more for yourself, for the witch, for what you're writing, that you want no one to see. So maybe this is where you put your spells. This is where you write your spells. A witch's diary, exactly. Your spells, your beliefs, your interactions. Maybe it's where you put your dreams. Maybe it's, where you're putting your deepest, darkest secrets and self into, would be your Book of Shadows, because this is for you. and you don't want any eyes upon it, or maybe it's for you and then you pass it to your children and then it's for their eyes and for them to add to. To me, it is whatever it is and whatever you want to call it. Now, it can look like this, simple as that. This is what I write my daily tarot in and my interpretation of it and go back to and read. I take pictures of my cards and I keep it in my phone with like a small little doodle, and then I write what I got out of it in here, and then I can go back and see like how that worked out. So that's what this one is for tarot. It could be something like this. It could be fancy. It could be wood bound. It could have natural pages in it. Okay. It could be a sketch pad. Be a sketch pad. That's where I write most of my stuff, to be honest. It could look like this. I've had this for 20 years. Funny part about that is it barely has anything in it because it's so special. And I want it to be perfect, right? What is perfect? What does that look like? What does that mean? I don't know. I have shit everywhere, you guys. So spells go in here first, and then what? I write it in my other one. I got news. Most of my spells are in that little freaking sketchbook. And then I take the pages out of there because I like it and I don't want to rewrite it. And I tape it in my book of shadows. And you know what? It's fun. And then I fold it up and I make it look all mysterious. Or maybe if you're super into scrapbooking, you scrapbook a book of shadows. It doesn't matter what it looks like. It's just that you use it. Like this could be your book of shadows. This could be your grimoire. It doesn't matter. I have stuff all over the place, is my point. Some
I can show
people,
you mine, but I got a cat on me, and I'll show you my cat first. Is the head of the cat.
okay. Oh, adorbs.
That's Lilac. Okay, I'm gonna go get my book.
Adorable. And some will write in with a regular pen. Maybe you have a pen. I like this one because it has a broom on the end. So I like this one. It sits on my altar and I write in my books with it. There you go. Some have a feather, some have a quill. Here's a thought. Some people don't want either. And that's okay too. Maybe it's not your thing to journal down stuff. Maybe it's not your thing to write spells out. Maybe it's not your thing to take care of your track your tarot readings. That's okay too, because guess what? Half the time I don't. Half the time it's the picture in my phone that I go back to over my notebook. Your background wants to eat everything tonight, Andrea. I saw a quick flash of it, but now your background wants to eat it.
I was gonna say maybe put it in front of your face. Like, oh, yep.
Oh,
Oh,
there you
cute.
go.
I
Oh, I love
love
that. That's
it.
super cute. That's super cute. And
Thank
some
you.
people aren't into it at all. So here's my point. Call it whatever you want, write in whatever you want, do it or don't. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be old. It doesn't have to be 700 pages. You can have one for spells. You can have one for astrological. You can have one for tarot. You can have, or you can smash it all together. It doesn't matter. And if it's not for you, don't feel like you have to have one. And most of the time when I'm doing my spell work, like I've been trying to get a little bit better. When I'm doing my spell work, sometimes I write it down, but that's why it's in that sketchbook, is because like that's the closest thing to me to grab. And then I'm not writing out word for word what I'm doing. I'm like, oh, in this spell, I used cinnamon to get it moving. I used clove for protection. I used kyanite for communication. you know, like, so sometimes that's what I'm writing out, and I'm not even writing out the words, and then sometimes I'm not even writing out what I did. Sometimes it's just like, did this work on this day, and then maybe I want to go back and see how it went, or you know, I didn't want to use this herb, so next time I want to use this herb. You know, it's totally personal, and no one can say what's right or wrong, and that's my point. But there's a lot of questions of what's a grimoire versus a book of shadows, and do I have to have one? No. And you don't have to use a quill and ink to put it in there. You can use a purple pen, you can use a broom pen, you can use a quill and ink because it's freaking cool, or calligraphy pen because you want it to be fancy. Maybe you just don't like it at all. Or maybe yours, yeah. um, or maybe yours isn't even words at all. Maybe you just draw pictures of what your spell looked like because you connect through that. It's so personal and it's so up to you, and no one needs to tell you what is right or what is wrong. So just go with your intuition, because that is what moves us, and that is what we do our work with. And I will tell you, there is a ton of times that I am doing spell work and I don't even write it down, because the next time I do it, it's going to look totally different. I have started writing it down more because I have people asking me questions of like, oh, what does this look like? Or what do you do in this? And yes, I remember, but sometimes I don't remember. And, you know, I have a book of shadows for my kitchen, right? Of when I'm coming up with recipes. That's a book of shadows too. And if you're putting intent into your cooking and you're doing it, or just even, you know, now maybe that's more of a grimoire because I would share it with someone. But let me tell you, I don't share my lemon bar recipe that took me almost 2 years to perfect with just anyone. And so that's in my kitchen book of spells. And yes, I do use intention when I cook, but it's the same thing when you're coming up with an enchilada recipe and you're writing it all out. And then the next time you make it, you're like, oh no, you know what? I want to use this kind of chili over that kind of chilies. And then you write it in there. And so your book of spells or magic or shadows or grimoire can be the same thing for the work that you're doing. So that is that. We are done now. I'm sorry it became 2 hours. I tried to go as fast as I could, but I also like to be thorough.
Quit apologizing. Quit apologizing. This is awesome.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Does anybody have any questions on altars or tools, or what that looks like?
No, I think it was actually really great.
Well, thank you.
I was
Yes.
showing you a picture of the table I had made and been working on. Part of the altar table with
Oh
the
my,
amethyst and the quartz.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And I haven't decided if I'll use the
beautiful.
witch
Oh, I
with the
love that.
third eye. I have mermaid, or I
I'm
have
like,
the
Carrie,
goddess.
that's your jam right there.
What?
Oh,
Or
That's
if
oh,
I'll
I
use
said,
beautiful. Beautiful,
long-haired,
beautiful.
beautiful person with planets in her hair. I'm like, okay, Carrie, that's you. That's good.
yeah, and those are like the like I have all this around my house because I make it, but when I make it, I want it to be used. Like so
Mhm.
many people make resin and do, but it's not functional. It's not something you can use, and I like to be able to use my artwork
Mhm.
in a practical
Definitely.
way, you know?
Definitely. And Andrea, yes, 110%. Manifest without doubt.
Yes.
Don't doubt your spell work. Don't doubt yourself. Don't doubt your power. Stand strong in who you are and that it's going to work, don't doubt it. That is definitely not a place to doubt. Now, that's easier said than done, but that is why we ground before we do our spell work. And that is why we stand in our power and believe in ourselves. And that is when you are going to see the most results out of everything you do. So 110% manifest without doubt. And if you have doubts, take a moment before you do it and sit down with a piece of paper. And that's where the shadow and the self work come in. And you're going to write those doubts down and you're going to ask yourself, where is that coming from? What does this look like for me? Just like with your altar, what does your altar look like for you? What does your spell work look like for you? Crystals aren't for everyone. Herbs aren't for everyone. Altars aren't for everyone, or they look different. So only you can ask those questions of yourself. But if you are coming from a place of doubt, that is where the self work and the shadow work needs to come in, and write it all down and ask yourself, where is this coming from? So you can resolve it. And so you can work on it from there. That's the most important part, is working without doubt. Because believe you me, all of you are strong. All of you are worth it, and all of you harness this power inside of you. And you all deserve to let it out and to work with it. You are deserving of letting it out and working with it and standing in that power.
Beautifully
That's
said. Thank you.
amazing.
Thank you
Because
so much.
that's exactly what I tell my roommate. Like, if you can't convince somebody else of what you're trying to tell yourself, you got to love yourself with the best and wholest intention. Because if not, how can you convince somebody else that you love you, let alone for them to love you, for them to
Exactly.
show you and you receive that? Because you have to be open to receiving it from yourself before you could ever be open to really receiving it from somebody else. You have to
Exactly.
move with your true authenticity.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. 100%. And that's why too, you know, we're starting here with the basics and the tools and the understanding, and then, you know, we're going to go into, you know, how we clear, like we talked over, how do we consecrate and connect to our stuff and all of that tonight, right? So also, you know, maybe during this time between now and the next class, think about, do you want to set up an altar? Is that for you? What do you want that to look like? How can you start with that? You know, what spoke to you? A shelf, a table, something that gets put away, something that's, you know, more out there, something that's not, you know, ask yourself those questions, go through that. What tools interest you? What doesn't? You know, think about all of that stuff, because then we're going to go into cleansing and all of these things, and grounding, and then we're going to start with, most importantly, like we'll go over candle magic as well, but some of the first stuff we're going to do is on our self-love and protection. First we need to start with protection, and then we need to go into self-love, because those are the two things that you have to start everything with. You have to protect yourself and you have to love yourself, and that is where the actual spell work is going to start.
And then
Because
you're back.
you can't start. That's an intruder rock.
Sorry.
You know,
I'm
you
getting
can't.
excited about these classes much
Oh,
more now.
I'm so glad.
So
Tanya?
it's very much when I did the language class, it's very much about how you talk to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That voice that we hear, that just because it sounds like you doesn't mean that it is you.
Mm-hmm.
So self-doubt comes in and it sounds like me. It talks to me in my voice. And I know that it's not me. But it's that kind of, you have to be conscious
Right.
to be able to catch it. Because
Yeah.
it'll try and get in. Doubt
Yeah.
will try.
Well, and yeah. And then
Tomorrow,
that's where the shadow work and the deep diving come in.
absolutely. So tomorrow, I'm going to just do a little promotion. Tomorrow, I'm doing my crystal class on trust. And we'll talk about different kinds of trust, and self-trust is one kind. which is very much along the lines of what Carrie is saying and is
Mhm.
engendering in each of us. So
Yeah.
We'll do that. We'll I'll post a reminder and all that after
Yeah.
after
I'm gonna
class.
stop the recording real quick.